Hey buddy, it's the Man Master here. I'm doing a fourth car video because I'm just angry and going to drive, even though driving has angered me because I have to drive to work so long back and forth nowadays in my newer job. But I want to do this video about the notion that neoliberalism, like neocolonialism, which is the economic system that we live under right now, has its roots in white supremacy, and I will tell you how that works. And I'm gonna before I do that, I'm gonna give a little bit of a disclaimer. Neoliberalism is not all bad. It doesn't cause. I mean, in some ways, it's beneficial. Now, you look at a socialist system like in the Soviet Union, and a neoliberal, thing with regards to some of these third world countries and stuff, and the economic progress. Soviet Union did make really big progress in the early 20th century. Now, at the expense of lives and people's freedom, but nevertheless, they did. But they did stagnate. And that happens, I don't think that happens necessarily with neoliberalism in the same way. It remains to be seen whether or not, these kinds of policies do that. But in the same way, and they probably don't in a certain way. But people are still kept in this system, a system of poverty. You go to the slums in any third world country and you see that. So one system, as far as the life expectancy, I know that life expectancy in Russia went down after the fall of the Soviet Union. And that was because of the oligarchs and, the shock doctrine, capitalism and stuff like that. I'm talking about some really weird esoteric shit in this video, just to warn people. Economic stuff. So what happened is, what I think the ideal is I'm still going to say this, and people might bark at this, but other than some of the bad stuff and the exploitation that's happened as a result of these things, because capitalism is inherently exploitative to third world countries for resources and stuff. I'm not going to deny that. Nobody can really deny that, regardless of how Republican they are or whatever. Still, to me, the Northern Europe, mixed model of capitalism and whatever you want to call it, is still pragmatically. I'm a libertarian at heart, but pragmatically, I believe in that. So I don't like the Soviet Union, and I don't like fascist countries or whatever quasi-fascist South American countries back in the day either. So I don't really like that's either authoritarian kind of system or model. But the economics of capitalism, as far as neoliberalism, comes from this idea. This is where the meat of the video is, by the way. Hopefully, if I say this right. So it comes from this idea that we're the enlightened ones. And so by having free trade only according to our rules, of course, of the corporations and the oligarchs, of the corporations and the world, these big bureaucratic entities, World Trade Organization, whatever. You will be enlightened by our ideas, our products, and all this stuff. At least part of your population will be, because you need consumers, but only up to a certain point, because the majority of people will still live in poverty, of course, in these countries. So in a way, it's like we're enlightened, this capitalist, and these words have come from Clinton representatives and stuff like that over the years. I've heard these people say that. And these people have actually made excuses for China and stuff and their authoritarianism, which was disgusting. It was on Charlie Rose, the late 90s, 98 or 99, one of the Clinton administration guys. He's like, well, they have free this and this and this. And it's ironic because that's like a Bernie argument. But of course, he doesn't care about that. He just cares about the markets and the money and the corporations and the banks and all that stuff making money. So this whole idea that we're enlightened, you're not. You have to be capitalist. You have to be this. You have to be socialist too. In that sense, that comes from a certain supremacy as well. Supremacist idea too. And actually, Marxism, in a certain way, doesn't, though, because it doesn't discriminate, so to speak. as far as like, it's not as white supremacist as neoliberalism, because a lot of the thinkers in neoliberalism come from this school that these savages have to be taught that, you know, you have to have this type of often predatory, not always predatory, but often predatory capitalism to be, you know, moved up to the modern world. Now, I'm not saying that there's no benefits to that, you know, life expectancy or whatever in a population of some sort, you know, of some of the population or whatever. But I'm saying that it's coming from this idea that we're the enlightened ones, and you're the savage brown person that has to be educated into the ways of the world. Instead of having your own, you know, like Chomsky has talked about, your own economic, you know, and a lot of to be fair, a lot of right-wing people have talked about it lately. You know, you can't have your own economic like system, or you can't have your closed system. You have to be part of the game plan, you know, that we have. So in a way, a lot of these economists that developed this did come from this school that people were the white saviors of these, you know, minority populations in this way. This goes along with some of actual liberalism too, and Chomsky's talked about that as well. And I'm sure Howard Zinn, other people have talked about this too. And I'm not a big fan. You know, Howard Zinn, you know, some of his defense, like people have said that Chomsky's defended communist countries, not in a blatant way like Howard Zinn did in the middle of people's history of the United States. He actually really does defend it. All Chomsky has said in his past books is that it's, you know, surprisingly they're good at this. You know, it's kind of like acknowledging that there's one part of the system that's good. Of course, anytime you do that, the enemy will attack you and say that you're supporting this. Like, it's almost like the Trump thing. It's like you say, oh, Donald Trump, well, he was good at this, at least. He did this. Well, Volkswagen wasn't established under Hitler, but at least it got really fully developed under him. You know, it's like Volkswagen was a good thing that Hitler did. Who cares? It's not saying that he's not a monster. I mean, it depends on how you say it, but to me, to my knowledge and to my reading of many Chomsky books, he never really came on and said, oh, communism's great, you know, oh man, free healthcare. He just said, oh, they happen to have, compared to what people, the hype of the neoliberal system has said, they kept their shit together in this way, which is repudiating that said system. It's not endorsing the system that they had in response, is what so this whole idea is just really ludicrous. But yeah, I'm trying to explain this whole thing. It's like, if you look back at the writings of many of these people that influence these economists and stuff, it's like, yeah, that's what they're about. They believe that they are the right ones to rule the system, and in practice, you know, with a lot of these organizations like the World Bank and a lot of these like different things, like all the controversies with all these systems and stuff that usually the left used to care about, by the way. I think some of them still do, but you're a conspiracy theorist Trumper if you talk about the World Bank or about the WTO, or, you know, people used to care about this shit. So, NAFTA's great, you know. It didn't used to be to you people, you know, or TPP, you know. Bernie was against TPP, I believe. And so was Trump, but because Trump was, we have to like say it's good, you know. Man, I want to fucking grab a brick and just gouge these people's eyes out and spit on them, eat their eyes, puke it up, piss on it, and gouge their and poop on their face. Seriously, because they're so stupid. Okay, I'm sometimes I have violent thoughts. It's fine. Violence and bloodshed. Violence and bloodshed. So, yeah, this whole fucking notion that, anyways, it's a little bit crazy. I'm a little bit crazy today. Must be the moon. The moon. So, yeah, this whole notion, it comes from racism. So, this whole notion that you have to follow our economic policy, or you have to, you know, be part of our organizations all the time. We can't do trade, you know, we have to go to war with you if you don't, basically. They make other excuses, and then they perpetuate these other things that these other countries do, and blah, 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 blah. Or in some wholeheartedly support them, like with Al-Qaeda or in Syria and stuff. The United States supported some of that stuff. Like, was it John Kerry or McCain or something? Someone came out and said that's true. So there's no way I could support the system, first of all, because of all that stuff, of all the contradictions and stuff. But second of all, yeah, I believe that this is coming from a place of what a woke person or what a professor might call white supremacy, because you are the great savior with your economic system and your economic ideas of trade and so forth. So you're the enlightened one amongst these savages. They follow these antiquated ideas and these systems. You're better than them, in your mind. These people are better than these people. And that's really where these think tanks operate. That's where they go in their mind. You notice that they say that, or they think America's superior and stuff. They say that stuff. So it does come from the same thing that the woke people talk about, which is ironic because a lot of these people pretend to be woke to pull people into this idea. Our CEO is black, trans, disabled, and autistic. And developmentally disabled, and probably not, but who knows? and they have a Down syndrome daughter with their biracial wife who's also trans. They're gonna exploit workers, and they're gonna mine. They're gonna strip mine some place for cobalt. But we should support this corporation because they're great. Otherwise, because they're diverse. It's a smokescreen. It's a ruse to get people to support their bullshit. That's what it is, And that's what people used to go against. See, people used to go to the root causes of shit too. They don't do that as much. They just talk, like all this talk about white supremacy and all this shit. It's like, well, all right. First of all, there's no real. The definitions become very clouded because you can say not wanting, like they'll say, like a movie, not wanting a movie to fuck up your childhood hero by. I'm going to go more into this in the future too. Completely changing their origin story and then making them a different race. But you happen to goes along with the making the origin story different and making the movie terrible. But then a few people will talk about how they're black too or something. They race swapped or gender swapped. So they're going to lump the people that hate the story. And then some people will talk about the race too because they notice that because it's like so obliquely like obvious that it happens. So they're going to say, oh, go woke, go broke, this terrible movie got made. It's all hypocrisy. So I don't, when they wokeify old media and stuff, it's like, well, there's an old woke and there's a new woke. Spike Lee, he's old woke, right? It's fine. Did some great fucking movies, okay? Their activism in movies used to be fucking good, okay? There used to be some really great killer movies that had diverse casts and diverse ideas and shit and liberal ideas. But when you're making shitty movies, people are going to notice the politics and point that out because they might be right wing or whatever, and they're going to confuse people, and people are going to go more to the right because people are going to hear this shit and be like, maybe it's just this, maybe liberalism sucks because these shitty movies, It's not like a conscious thing, it's more subconscious, but fucking bad stuff there was some great stuff made that had diverse casts and diverse characters, females, whatever, she-males. No, I'm just kidding. The Crying Game, fucking A. And I mean, I was supposedly good. I never saw that movie. I don't know. I wasn't interested at the time. I probably should watch it, but that's supposedly a good movie. Shit, they've made movies like that. Oh, Cuckoo had a trans character more recently. That was a good movie too. A lot of people might disagree. A lot of people, I understand like the A24 thing, like it's not A24, but it's like quirky, independent horror movie thing. It's kind of played out now. I understand that. Like Lawn Legs. Oh my God. I loved Osgood Perkins, but that movie was frustrating. That's why Cuckoo was kind of fresh compared to that one. But anyways, I'm going and rambling into this movie thing. But yeah. The left used to be, God damn it, I've really got off topic. The left used to be about a lot more than it is now, you know, or at least like outwardly. Like there was just a lot more activity. And maybe it's social media too. It's hard work to go to a copy machine and put a collage of different pictures of different causes or different people and stuff, when you can just like Photoshop or get AI to do it or whatever you do now, or some app to do it. You know, it's like people have become lazy too, and they've just focused on things that are in the algorithms. It's a brave new world we're living in. You know, it's funny because the Wired magazine crowd and like a lot of the technocrats. Douglas Rushkoff is still part of this, by the way. I think Douglas Rushkoff. People like Douglas Rushkoff are part of this, like the new generation of technology and stuff. But he still has some of that old attitude, the like independent attitude that, you know, the new guys don't have, the Google CEOs of the world or whoever, you know. But anyways, I'm going off topic and kind of blabbing a little bit, but you know, this is just kind of how I see things, and I don't like what's going on. I'm an old school. If you want to call me a leftist, I'm old school. 25 years ago. I still believe in those values to some extent. You know, I don't like this new thing, whatever the hell you call it. You know, there is a new thing. There is. No, there's not. Let's not doubt it, deny it. So that's about all.